Today, we are going to be ranking all 36 evolutions from worst to best. So in last place is obviously the Goblin Drill. This is just not a good Evo, bro. This is the worst Evo in the game, in my opinion. It's one of the only Evos where the evolution actually makes the card worse. Like, you're better off not playing the Evo version of this, because all it does is just spawn around the tower, but I don't know, that doesn't help you in any sort of way. If anything, it just makes it worse, where other troops in different areas can target it now. So I don't know. I don't get it, but it is definitely the worst Evo in the game because it's not even worth running. Next up are the Evo Barbs. I feel like it's kind of self-explanatory why these would be here. I mean, this is a horrible card as a base card. So to use the Evo Barbs, you're forced to use the normal Barbs, which are horrible. And then secondly, the Evo Barbs, they don't really add much to the card, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't know. It's just a really pointless evolution, and honestly, if you're using this, I would ask you why, because there's genuinely no point. They're just a little raged up version of the Barb. So, I mean, it's fully pointless in my opinion. Next up is the Witch. Oh, how times have changed. This used to be the best Evo in the entire game, but now, obviously, after that big nerf, it is over for the Evo Witch. It is not a good one, guys. It is definitely not good anymore. Obviously, with the ability for it to heal from other troops to skeletons, that made the card absolutely broken. But then taking that ability away makes the card actually useless. So it's kind of a hard card to balance in that sense, but it only heals from its own skeletons now. And so if anything's just targeted on the Witch, it's over. It's barely better than the normal Witch, but it's still better than the other two Evos that came before. But yeah, man, this is not good. Next up is the Battle Ram. I think that the Battle Ram is actually quite cool, and it's pretty fun, but it is pretty niche, and it only really used in bridge spam. It is a significant improvement on the normal Battle Ram, but it's really not gonna get you much more value, if that makes sense. If they know how to defend, I mean, this still isn't really gonna get to the tower. So honestly, it's not that great, and obviously it comes out with the slightly raged Barbs, which I mean, as you can see by what I think about the normal Barbs, it's not looking good for them. But yeah, I don't know. It's not great. It's definitely usable, but I feel like if you're using this Evo, there's probably other Evos that you can use instead. Next on the list are the Evo Skeletons. I don't think that they're that good, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. They used to be quite decent, but obviously there's a lot that can take it out now. With the meta being also Furnace based, with the Splash, with the Baby Dragon, with everything like that. Yeah, these are not looking too good. So it's very hard to get the value out of them when you do have them ready to go, because someone will always have a log ready, arrows, whatever, and they're kind of useless. So there's a lot more that you can run in that Evo slot. That any deck that has skeletons has better Evos that you can run. So definitely it used to be quite good, but I think nowadays, I don't think that this is a top Evo anymore, and it's not really that good, to be honest. Next up, I'm gonna go with the Hunter. I think that the Hunter has a cool ability, but overall, it's not really used too much. And even in decks that run the Hunter, like the Royal Giant, there's been other cards that have kind of been more of a mainstay now than the Hunter. So it's easily replaceable, and honestly, not that good. Obviously, the Vines now have also replaced the Hunter ability, which is literally the same thing, but you don't have to wait for the Evo. So overall, it's not bad, but the normal Hunter is not the best. So yeah, man, it's not a horrible evolution, but it's definitely not anywhere near the top. And so that's why the Hunter has to be in this position. Next up is the Bomber. The Bomber honestly was pretty decent before the nerf, but now it's not really that good. It's pretty hard to line up with the tower and actually get value now. And obviously, with it being able to die to arrows and all sorts of things, it's really just not that good. It can still be used to, you know, make some cool plays, but overall, it's just, why would you really run the Evo Bomber? There's any deck that it's in, there's always two better Evos. Say like the P.E.K.K.A. Goblin Giant deck, you'd rather run the P.E.K.K.A. and the Goblin Giant Evos than the Bomber Evo. So yeah, man, it has to be low on the list. It's pretty cool, but it's just not good enough and nowhere near as good as it used to be. Next up is the Goblin Cage. The Goblin Cage is pretty cool, but at the same time, it's pretty hard to get it to work properly. You will probably force out Elixir from the opponent, whether it's putting another troop or whether it's fireballing or lightning the Goblin Cage to take it out. But overall, it's just, I don't know, man. It's not the best. And obviously, you have to run the normal Goblin Cage, which is pretty bad. So it's just overall not a great evolution, but when it does work, it works really well. And so that's why it's higher than the other ones currently. I feel like it's very kind of situational or niche where it's only really used in a couple decks and it could probably be replaced, to be honest. And so obviously it has to be kind of low on this list, but it's still okay. Like, I'll give it an okay, but yeah, man, it's not the best thing, and there's definitely a lot better Evos. Next, I'm gonna go with the bats. Obviously, I think a lot of people don't really enjoy the bats that much, with it being kind of a splash-based meta with the Furnace, with the Baby Dragon now, with the arrows, everything like that. It's obviously harder to make them survive as long, but they do get a lot of good value and a lot of good plays, especially for the cost. With it having a lot of health like that, it can catch people off guard. If they have low elixir, it can actually really do some good damage. So I really don't think that they're that bad. They're obviously not as good as some of the other ones on this list, but definitely not as bad as I feel like people say they are. And they can still get a ton of decent value and force out more elixir with arrows and stuff like that, where normally they'd be killed by something like a zap. So I think that it's not as bad as people say it is. The Wizard, where do I even begin with the Wizard? It's just not good, is it? It's just not good, but the Evo does bring some sort of value to the card. It is quite annoying to deal with because it's a lot harder to take out with that huge bubble of shield, fire shield on it. But obviously, for you to run the Evo Wizard, you have to run the normal Wizard, which is pretty buns. It's not really good at all. But the Evo Wizard, to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan, but I'm also not the biggest hater of it. It's not bad. The ability is kind of cool, and it does actually become useful in certain situations. Say if they try to use bats, and like a Goblin Gang or like any sort of swarm will just instantly die, and you can't really surround it anymore, which is quite interesting. And obviously, you have to kind of use double spells to take it out, stuff like that. So I don't think the Evo is that bad, but you do have to run the normal Wizard to use this, and obviously at the cost of 5 elixir, it's not really worth it to run. But honestly, not the worst Evo in the world. Next up, I have the Electro Dragon. It's honestly not bad. Again, we're kind of getting into the Evos that are not horrible, but they're also not great. You can get a lot of better value from other Evos than the Electro Dragon. It's also not that hard to take out, and it's not really even used that well in beatdown decks. I don't know. It's a weird one because I feel like the ability is quite good, as you can see by the video, taking out those entire barbs on its own. But it's just not really utilized as well in the game, and doesn't really have a place in a lot of decks other than like obviously Balloon and maybe Golem even. But even then, there's other replacements now with the Baby Dragon Evo and the Inferno Dragon Evo that probably offer you a little bit more. So I don't know. It's not a great one here, but the ability is quite good. Next up, in 25th place, we have the Inferno Dragon. So the Inferno Dragon, to be honest, is pretty decent, but I don't find myself, especially when I'm using it, I don't find myself using that like maxed out ability often. It'll somehow get taken out before it gets to utilize that. In the right hands, it can be really, really strong, but I think for the general person, this is an Evo that you probably won't need to use. In its decks, you'll probably use other Evos that are better, but it's not the worst thing in the world. And if it does end up getting to that max charge, it does become quite a threat on the field. But yeah, man, it's kind of just mid, I would say. Next up is the Evo Mortar in 24th position. I feel like it's a good Evo, but obviously you might be expecting a little bit more from the Evo. It's not great. It's just good. It does get good value, and it could be a nuisance when it finally locks onto the tower, with those goblins being on the tower and doing a lot more damage. But I feel like it's a little bit underwhelming. I don't know. It's good, but it's not great in my opinion. Next up is the Ice Spirit, and we are getting into the territory now where these are good Evos, and you should probably run these if you have the chance. But the Ice Spirit used to be a lot better before the nerf, and now it's not as good, but it's still quite useful, and it can still get a lot of good value. But there's just a lot better evolutions now in the game and in those particular decks that use the Ice Spirit that it's kind of just phased out into not being useful as much. But it's still a decent Evo, and if you do have it, there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, you're always going to get decent value if it does connect, which most of the time it does connect unless you're a bot and you put it right beside whatever you're trying to get it to connect to. Yeah, overall, I'd say Ice Spirit is pretty good, and it's in a good place, but maybe a little bit stronger would be useful. But it is 1 elixir. So I do understand why it's not as good as it used to be. Next up, we have the Skeleton Barrel. The Skeleton Barrel, when it came out, was absolutely devastating. Do you guys remember that like a few months ago? When it came out, it was absolutely devastating, but now I think it's found its place into a good tier evolution, but not an S tier evolution in the slightest. And it's good, it gets a lot of value if it does connect, and obviously with it being a quick cycle card, you do use it quite a bit, the evolution I mean. You do use it quite a bit, so it's a good card, but obviously if they know what they're doing, say like in that video right there with the bomb tower, it is not going to get much value. So it just kind of depends on the matchup, and it depends on the timing of when you use this, but if it is used correctly, absolutely beautiful. So much death damage to the tower, and can really change a game. It literally can flip a game on its head, so this is a good Evo, but I think there's a lot better still on this list. Next on the list are the Royal Recruits. What an annoying card. Am I right, guys? What an annoying card, bro. The Royal Recruits are good and they are annoying, but the Evo obviously makes them even better. So, and it's a one cycle Evo, right? So you're gonna get a lot of them during the game if you spam your recruits and if the game goes to overtime. And so you're gonna get a lot of value out of this, but the main thing is it just catches people off guard. They start sprinting and they can really change a game. And I've seen it happen where you defend it all game, but one time it just slips, one of them slips through and gets to the tower because it's sprinting and it does a lot of damage. So I think these are a decent evolution. They're still a lot better on this list, but any deck that runs the recruits should be running the Evo because they are a good card. Starting off our top 20 is the P.E.K.K.A. The P.E.K.K.A. is a good evolution. Obviously the healing ability is quite annoying, especially in, you know, those type of decks, the Goblin Giant P.E.K.K.A. decks, absolutely disgusting brainless decks. But we're here to discuss the P.E.K.K.A. and the P.E.K.K.A. evolution is quite good. The healing ability is quite useful in a lot of situations. It can get that extra little bit of health to get a shot on the tower when the opponent has run out of elixir. But obviously it's not really a super game changer. It's just very useful to have if you are running P.E.K.K.A. I think it's a good evolution, and I think it's better to run the evolution P.E.K.K.A. if you're running normal P.E.K.K.A. anyway than choosing something else, because if it is your kind of main strategy to win, I would definitely recommend running the Evo P.E.K.K.A. It's a good Evo. In 19th place, I'd say, is the Evo Musketeer. The Evo Musketeer, I feel like at the start is not easy to understand and it's not easy to use. You actually need to know what you're doing to be able to use it. So that's why it's not as high in the list. Well, 19th is pretty high. It's not super high, just because of the learning curve, but what you can do with this Evo has a lot of potential. You can snipe down units from far away, and that can really change their entire push. It just stops their entire push because they've lost an important unit from basically nothing, from thin air. So it's a good card, a very good Evo, obviously in the decks that it's used in, the Hog 2.6 and all those types of decks, the minor balloon deck, stuff like that. It's obviously very good and you should be using it if you have it available. Next up is the new Evo, the Baby Dragon at 18th place. Look, it's a good card, but it is a support card. And so support cards aren't really going to have the craziest abilities, but it does really help with your push and it does really help to defend, to be able to slow down their push and, you know, save elixir when you don't have it, and also be able to speed up your push when they don't have elixir. It's a very nice and balanced card. I feel like it's in a good place right now. It doesn't need a nerf. It doesn't really need a buff. I think that it's quite nice, and it's a very solid support Evo that can really improve your deck, depending on what you're using. Obviously, Splash Yard, that's a huge improvement to that deck because it didn't really have another Evo that would make sense running, whereas now it does. So I think it's a great addition to the game. It's fun and it's unique, and yeah, it's a good Evo, very solid, and I think it deserves a place in the top 20. In 17th place is the Archers. The Archers are only really seen in Expo, but I feel like this evolution is very underrated. It's very strong because of the damage that it does at range. It's actually super useful, but the only problem with it is the fact that it dies to arrows and any sort of other small spell, really. Other than log, it'll keep them alive, but they have no health, which is the problem with them. But their actual ability and what they can do is actually very powerful, and that's why you see it run in the Expo decks. It's actually really good, but yeah, it's just the issue with the health there. But if you can place these in the right position where they can't get sniped or bait out their spell before and then put the Evo Archers down, you're in for a very good defense because they are super solid at doing a lot of damage. Next up is the Firecracker. Obviously the Firecracker would be way higher up if it didn't get that recent nerf, because the recent nerf has really taken it down a notch. which is great because this card was hella annoying. I don't want to see this card ever again. Obviously, we're still going to see it, but the Evo is actually quite good. It gets so much value, like so much value from just one shot. It'll hit so many things behind the troop and even the tower in most cases. So, and usually King Tower is already activated, so that's not really an issue with the Evo. That's just an issue with the card in general. But yeah, this card is actually ridiculous. The Evo is ridiculous in my opinion. It does die to arrows, but it doesn't die to logs, so that is a benefit. But yeah, man, it is super, super valuable when you can get it down. I think the opponent usually must arrow this off the board, or else it's going to cause some major issues while it's alive. Next up is the Dark Goblin, and yes, maybe I'm a little bit biased because I use it, but this card melts tanks, bro. The Evo actually melts tanks when it's given the opportunity. Look at the video, look at the video, look at the red smoke there. It's actually crazy, bro. It's crazy. Yeah, I got a little bit of a nerf. It doesn't last as long now, but it is still so good at melting tanks, and I do notice the difference when I take it out. So if you use the Dark Goblin, and it's only really used in bait decks, which is the issue, but if you use a bait deck and if you use the Dark Goblin, 100% I would recommend having this Evo. It's insane. It's so good. It's so good. I don't know why people say it's not as good as it used to be. It's good, bro. It does the job, and the Evo does make a difference. Look at that push in the video, bro. Tell me that the normal one can do that. No, your tower is gone. So obviously for me, definitely deserves a space in the top 15 here. I don't care what anyone says. This is a good Evo, man. Next up in 14th place would be the Royal Giant. This Evo is super solid, and the reason is the counters to the normal Royal Giant might not apply to the Evo, and that's the main thing. So if you use a skeleton army to take out the normal Royal Giant and they already use their log, you know, that takes out the Royal Giant. But with the Evo, it completely disintegrates any sort of small troop around it and makes it so much harder to stop if you're using a lot of swarm cards and smaller cards. And even with the bigger cards, it still knocks them back and knocks them away and gives that extra time to get another shot off. So this Evo is absolutely disgusting. It's ridiculous. It's very good. And obviously it's kind of niche. So if you're not running Royal Giant, you wouldn't run this Evo. But if you are running Royal Giant, obviously you must run this Evo. It's very good and definitely deserves a space in the top 15. Unfortunately, next up in 13th is the Mega Knight. Obviously a very brainless card and a very no skill card, but that has nothing to do with the video is about. It's about how good the Evos are, and the Evo for the Mega Knight is ridiculous because it counters the normal counters to the Mega Knight, which is just, I honestly don't think this card is balanced at all. I don't think this is balanced because say you put a P.E.K.K.A down to counter the Mega Knight, it just knocks it away. Why? Why does it do that? That's ridiculous to me. I think that's stupid. It'll knock it back into the tower and then jump on the tower. I think it's just a really annoying and really kind of stupid Evo that doesn't need to be in the game, in my opinion. But it is super strong, so it has to be high up on the list. And if you are running the Mega Knight, I'm gonna judge you a little bit, but if you are running the Mega Knight, you should run the Evo. That's obviously a no-brainer. You should be running the Evo because the Evo makes the card even better and more annoying than it already is. Next up, we have the Evo Zap. The Evo Zap is actually really good, but the problem is you have to run the normal Zap, which isn't that good. But obviously, it's kind of seen a rise a little bit with these brainless Goblin Giant P.E.K.K.A decks with the Goblin Curse. But now that the Goblin Curse has gotten nerfed, I guess it's not going to be as strong. But it's still really strong, and you can get a lot of value out of the Evo Zap. It can obviously kill a lot of the targets that it couldn't kill before, like a Minion Horde, Dark Goblin, Firecracker, any sort of cards like that. It can now kill with it being its Evo form, so it does make a big improvement on the normal card. And I think that if you're running Zap, you should probably run the Evo Zap because it can have a lot of utility, especially later in the game when it catches people off guard with the 2 stuns. So yeah, man, I think it's a good Evo, really good Evo, and probably deserves to be even probably slightly higher. But I think that you running the normal Zap is not that good. There's a lot better cards than that, so that's why it can't be higher. But yeah, it's still a good Evo. Next up is the Goblin Barrel. Even after the nerf, this card is absolutely disgusting. It makes the normal card that much better to use because the Evo form can literally change a game on its own. I use this card, obviously, you guys watch the videos, you guys know. I use this card all the time now, and it has made the biggest difference to my gameplay out of any Evo that I've got before because it completely changes the game. You can win an entire game based on one Evo barrel push if you do all the right things and if you kind of know what you're doing. So the more you use it, the more you'll get better with it. And yeah, this Evo to me, if you use the barrel, this is unbelievable. This will be a game changer, and it's just really good. It has to be up here. It can't be in the top 10, I think, but it has to be up here. But speaking of the top 10, we have our first member of the top 10, which is the Executioner. The Evo Executioner has so much potential and can stop so many different pushes. It's literally ridiculous. It's so annoying to verse, and yeah, it's just a fantastic card. The normal Executioner is pretty good as well. The cost with it being 5 is not great, but you get so much value, as you can see in these videos. Look at it, look at this, look at it. It just stops the push on its own, and it can be used well in like beatdown decks and stuff like that. It's just incredible. It's really good, man. It's really, really good. Please, if you use the Executioner, get the Evo. It makes a huge difference, and it's just fantastic. It deserves a space in the top 10. Next up is the Lumberjack. The Lumberjack Evo is disgusting, bro. It's crazy. The Lumberjack Evo is so good. That being in ghost form, where you could just hit a bunch of troops around you in the rage spell radius and not be able to get killed or die is insane, bro. And obviously it can go unnoticed a lot of the times. It gets so much extra value and extra damage, and it forces out more elixir as well. It forces them to defend it even after you've killed the initial Lumberjack. So this card is a no-brainer. If you're using the Lumberjack Balloon, you have to have the Lumberjack Evo in your deck. It is that good. The only issue I see is the versatility. It's not really used in that many decks, so that's why it can't be higher up on the list. But the niche decks that it is used in, it is an absolute game changer. In 8th place is the Knight. The Knight is crazy, bro, and the versatility of the Knight is so undefeated. Just absolutely undefeated. You can use it in Log Bait, you can use it in Splash Yard. There's so many different decks that use the Knight. It's unbelievable. So you get the Evo and you will be able to use this in so many different decks. But getting back to the Evo itself, it's so strong. That damage reduction when it's in that form walking is just ridiculous. It can tank for so much longer than a normal Knight can. You basically can't go wrong with it. It's just reliable. You know what you're gonna get from it each time, and you know that you can even stall. If you don't have enough elixir, put it down and help defend. It'll tank so many more hit points than usual. It's just an unbelievable card and deserves a space in the top 10. Next up is the Goblin Giant. Obviously another member of the brainless Goblin Giant P.E.K.K.A deck, but it deserves a nerf 100%. That we can say. I think everyone can agree on that. But in its current state, it is not nerfed. So it is in the 7th position. It is in the top 10 because it is so broken. And in those decks, it is a huge game changer. Having those goblins just spawn out of it every 2 seconds, like, it's just annoying, bro. It's so annoying. But it has so much value and can do so much damage. And so it has to be on this list because it's just that good. The normal Goblin Giant is pretty decent as well, but this just takes it to a whole nother level. So even after it gets taken out, you still have to deal with all those mini goblins running around and doing damage. It's just too annoying, bro, but it is too good, man. It needs a nerf. Yeah, it has to be on this list. It's just really good. Next up is the Giant Snowball in 6th position. The Giant Snowball is so good. One of the best Evos in the game, obviously, with it being very close to the top 5. But it doesn't get used as much, which is the issue with the Snowball. Like, it's not really used that often. People prefer a lot of other spells than the Snowball, but if you have a deck that does run the Snowball, 100% you should be using the Evo Snowball. It's a game changer. It can stop an entire push, or like delay an entire push for like, what, 5-10 seconds, where it has to walk back to where it was before and slow it down also. So it can help on offense too, not only defense but offense. When you're attacking, say with a graveyard or with a balloon even, you can push everything away and help get to the tower a lot quicker and a lot easier. It's just ridiculous, bro. It's such a good Evo, but obviously the normal Snowball isn't great. It still has to be in this top 10. Next up, I have to go with the Cannon. The Cannon is so good. And yeah, it's just ridiculous. You're always gonna really get value for it when you put it down. It can stop so many different things. Say there's a princess across the bridge, you could take it out. Say there's a firecracker being annoying across the bridge, you take it out with the Evo Cannon. You can use it on offense, on defense. It's so versatile, and the normal cannon to me is the best building in the game. So it's just a win-win. Such a good card, such a good Evo to have in your deck. And 100% recommend it if you are using the Cannon. Next up in 4th place is the Evo Valkyrie. This card is so good, bro. And the fact that it was free is just insane, bro. This card has so much value. It can stop entire pushes on its own. But the thing is, if it does get killed, you're not going to really get the value out of it. If it does one swing and dies, what's the point? But obviously, if it does survive, like look at the video right there, if it does survive for a while, it can slow down this entire push. That golem won't even get to the tower. It's literally ridiculous, bro. It's so crazy, the ability that it has. And it also hits air with that ability, which is the even crazier part. Why is it hitting air, bro? But yeah, man, this card is absolutely ridiculous. The normal Valkyrie is pretty good as well, so you cannot go wrong with this card. That's why it is this high in the list. Next up is the Evo Tesla. This card is disgusting. I think it's underrated. I think it's literally underrated, bro. This card, in my opinion, is even slightly better than the Evo Cannon. because it can take out entire swarms all around it and consistently keep doing it. It can stay in the ground, come up, do that, go back in the ground, and then come up again. Like, it's just crazy, bro. The card is insane. I can't believe they're giving it for free as well. It's not really used in that many decks, but where it is used, and even in homemade decks, this is a crazy card, bro. This is a really, really good card. And for what it is, it improves the normal Tesla so much. It's such a great ability. It 100% deserves a spot in the top 3. Next up are the Wall Breakers, of course, guys. Everyone's favorite 2 elixir card that can never get a negative trade for. It's only positive trades when you use this card. It's just ridiculous, bro. This card, literally, you will always get value. You place it down for 2 elixir. Someone has to either log it for an even trade, or put a cannon down, or a building down, or a bigger spell, and it's always a negative trade for the person that's playing against this. So for you, it's always a positive trade. Not to talk of the Evo ability is just insane. It literally blows up when it gets taken out, so it takes out any sort of swarm around it, and does double damage to the tower if it's in that area and stuff like that. It's just, oh man, this card is so broken. It's so broken, but is it broken enough to get a nerf? Maybe, probably. I just think there's too much value for 2 elixir, and that's the issue, but the Evo is just insane. You're always going to get decent value. You can even use this on defense. If you're a defender, you can put those down and it'll blow up anything in the radius. It's just ridiculous, bro. It's a bit ridiculous, but it is super, super strong and definitely deserves a space in 2nd position. And last but not least, the Furnace. Obviously, everyone's least favorite card. This card is just so annoying. It can stop whole pushes by itself. Look at the video. Like, this is just stupid, man. It can do everything on its own. I think it needs a bigger nerf than it already got, because that nerf kind of did nothing. So we need to nerf this a little bit more, but right now it's still the strongest Evo in the game. And if you're using the Furnace, you definitely should be using the Evo Furnace. That makes absolutely no sense why you wouldn't use that. It can stop everything in the game because the Fire Spirits do splash. It does decent on its own as well because of the range that it has. The fact that every single attack a Fire Spirit comes out, I feel like it's just way too broken. I don't know how this hasn't been nerfed on the actual ability, because it's just ridiculous. But yeah, man, it has to be number 1. It's the most broken Evo in the game by far. It's the most annoying card in the game by far. I hate seeing this card, bro. I feel like the game was better before it was in. Am I wrong? Am I wrong, guys? Tell me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think the game was better before this was introduced, because this is beyond annoying and beyond frustrating to deal with. But it is the strongest Evo in the game, and therefore should be number 1 on this list. But there you go. That is a list of all the rankings of the Evos in the game. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, become a channel member. It's all in the description down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.